Peter Ruby. I'm on staff at Christian Challenge Washburn, and I'm just going to share my story. And so, a long time ago, I actually drew little pictures of my story, of what my life was like before Jesus, and when I met him, and what life looks like now. So, my dad, he is a Jehovah's Witness, and so I grew up going to his meetings during the week, and going with my mom on Sundays to, at the time, a Methodist church. And so I just had it in my mind that I just had to believe the right things. So, like a test question number 1, this is the right answer. This is the right answer. This is the right answer. And I thought it was all about how you thought about God. As long as you thought about God right, that was what was important. But at college one day, there's those little lovely tables and chairs there up on the balcony at Washburn, and I met God and came to the realization that being a disciple is knowing him and following him. And what that looks like for me is journaling and writing down and letting God take my pen and listening to the things that he says to me. I have this tiny little pocket journal, a little notebook, and it's all tore up because it always is in my back pocket. It's there so that I can talk to Jesus. So journaling and writing out my prayer and letting him take my pen and letting him move my thoughts and trying to be obedient to those things. This is how I talk to God. And it's really sad that there's times in my life where I don't pull this out, where I don't take the time to talk to God. But this, of course, with the Bible and the guiding principles that God has put forth in his word, this is how Jesus talks to me. Here's the picture of Jesus as a shepherd saying, "Follow me." And so it's all about following him. So my life now, sometimes it looks like this really crazy squiggly road. It's not the big long highway that's smooth and straight. It's windy, but along the way there's green grasses, there's fresh water, and God is so good. And so there's quite a few stories in my life, especially big moment changes, where God has, the best word that I've found is impression, where God has put an impression on my heart or my mind. And so I'm going to share one story really quick. And it's the story of how we moved to Wamego. So, grew up in Silver Lake, went to Washburn, lived in Topeka for a short time, and my wife and I were married, living in Topeka. And at the time, one of her brothers needed some help. He was kind of going through a life situation. And one of the things that we set out to do, my wife and I, was to default to action. And so we were brainstorming. He was going to Manhattan at the time for college. And so we're about in the stage of life where we need to move. We don't necessarily want to be in Topeka because we grew up in smaller towns. And so we just said, yes, let's go. And all along the way, God provided. The whole house buying process, Wamego was perfect. I was able to still work at the job I was at and commute. And Emily found her job. And now we've both settled into things that we're going to be here for a long time. And God just put everything in place for that to work out perfectly. All because we just chose to default to action. So my challenge to you is that same, is whenever you're met with a situation, do go forward with that. Because God doesn't need to give you a specific voice that says, hey, you need to adopt a child, because in his word he's shown us that we should have a heart for the poor and for the orphans. And we should just love. So default to action. Thanks, guys. See you later.